All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with more pocket change sales, all from eBay, by the way. This is the pocket change market report for the week ending April 16, 2022. Yeah, we got a pretty nice lineup of coins and actually currency that folks like you and I have found out there in the wild, whether that's going through pocket change or some of the change you get back from a vendor. But additionally, going to the bank, getting some bank rolls, and doing an activity called coin roll hunting is another great idea in finding some of these coins that you're going to see on the report today. Furthermore, if you like to scour coin shop inventory or maybe the local show, what do you have going on? You want to cherry pick something nice for your collection or to resell, that's also another way of finding a number of these coins. But the big idea with what we have here is none of the coins are graded. Grading is a incredibly high expense that maybe you just don't need if you're just looking to sell the coins. Oftentimes errors and varieties sell for themselves. That's the good news. You can realize full market potential on just about any coin that you find in circulation that exhibits, some sort of US mint error or mint error from any mint. Alongside, those varieties like double dies, repunchment marks, things of that nature. So before we jump into this list that we have today, a lot of great overperforming coins. Something to keep in mind, all the images are true to nature from how they came from the individual listings. So you're going to find that some of the listings are going to be a little bit out of focus. Or they're going to be dark. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. If you're not really adept at coin photography, then, you might pick up a lesson or two just going through my PCMR, which a lot of people have said they found that pretty useful. So before we jump in, again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all the views and support. Again, I'm Sean. Let's go ahead and dive right into what we have here from the good old world of eBay from within the last 24 to 36 hours. Okay, we're going to start it off with this $10 bill that you see here. It's a 1977 series. It's older. I mean, you could just look at it and know that they haven't made these in over 20, 25 years. The small-sized portrait notes are slowly disappearing. And this is a really cool error, a very minor error that a lot of people have overlooked. This particular note has seen some circulation during its day. However, what we're looking at is going to be on the reverse on that left side. You see that black kind of print over ink right there. This is what's referred to as a front to back wet ink transfer. All right, so the impression cylinder had a little bit of ink on there and therefore transferred onto the corresponding sheet in the area where that ink is. Pretty common occurrence, believe it or not. And these show up all the way, actually, to the current notes. I've seen 2013 and 2017 series of notes with a wet ink transfer. Now, this is a rather minor error on this particular one. However, it still managed to sell for $35 with a total of 18 bids, bringing it up to that amount. So again, this is very, very small, very innocent looking, but always a worthwhile find because they're going to be worth more than face value. And I would say the same about this here, 1973 Lincoln Memorial Cent. Looks a little bit off-center on the obverse or the front of the coin, and it does. It really does, compared to the reverse, where that is perfectly centered. So what do we have here? This is an error commonly referred to as misaligned dies. This particular example is quite on the minor side. Usually with misaligned dies, you want to see whatever side that is off-center, you want to see some of the devices getting encroached onto. This particular one does not. It just looks a little bit off-center, all right? But additionally, this one also exhibits a little bit of a partial tilted color. Sorry, I didn't mean to go to the next coin. We're not going to get ahead of ourselves. The coin has circulated. It's not the greatest looking example, but again, it's very minor. The kudos to the seller for taking phenomenal pictures. Great source of lighting and just perfect focus on this one. Sold for, only $4.22 with 3 bids. But where else are you going to be able to get 422 times face value on something like this? I mean, you sell for a few bucks, it's okay. You're going to make it up on the next coin. And it all kind of like adds up at the end of the day. You're really building some sort of capital so that way you could continuously get more coins. Now we could go to this one. Not the greatest looking example. It does have that scratch there on the front of the coin, but it is a 1999 Lincoln Memorial cent. It's off center by about 30%. It's one of the more commonly encountered dates of either off-center strikes or broad strikes. These were found quite a bit in those mint-sewn bags directly from the mint, or the Federal Reserve Bank, rather. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for an example like this, this is decent, but it's a hot potato coin in my estimation, because there's just so many of them out there, and they're copper-coated zinc. So I guess they weren't really long for this world. They will deteriorate and crumble in due time. So storage is obviously going to be the key, but the main detractor is the scratch, considering it's a very common date of this era. It sold for $15.99, so there is some value here. If you're looking for this particular coin, or if you have one for sale, they still do provide some much needed value. All right, at first glance, this looks like just regular good old pocket change. Nothing really kind of like, popping out saying, hey, this is a really cool error. It's a 1993 Lincoln Memorial cent. However, if you look close enough and you're using that jeweler's loop with any sort of success, you're going to find this nice little die crack that goes from the rim and into Lincoln's skull. So this is commonly referred to in the error community as a spike head. If you do come across these, they exist throughout many dates of Lincoln cents, going all the way back to the 50s and 60s, even earlier than that. And you can find these on much newer coins. I mean, coins of the last year or two. As a matter of fact, I believe someone had found, as of right now, a 2022 version of this spike head. This one right here sold for $5.39 with 10 bids. Again, fantastic photos. And those are ultimately what's going to win the day for these minor auctions. Now, if you're out there hunting quarters and you're looking for some spicy finds, look no further than the West Virginia statehood quarters. This is probably one of the most common, states to find the cud die breaks. Okay, and we have a trio of them right here in one listing that's sold here in the last day or two. It's 2005. They're all Philadelphia minted coins, so you're going to make sure you're looking for that P mint mark. But always flip it over. This one has a little bit of a rim cud right here. This one has a pretty nice size cud that goes to the edge of the design work, and then the same here on this example, another cut. Because of how close the design is to the rim, this is a very, very susceptible area of wear and tear on the dies. That seems to be one of the commonalities of this one and any other statehood quarter, where the design goes right up to the edge. You're going to get some of the breakage, some of the premature kind of die failure that you wouldn't expect on much newer coins. So this 3-coin set sold for $36, which is quite good considering all 3 of these coins are not only circulated, but they are some of the most common errors to come across in statehood quarters. Now we do have a couple of, a couple really nice, different dates. We don't see these dates very often, errors on these Lincoln Memorials. We have a 2007 here. It's a little bit off center from what you could see here. But furthermore, it also exhibits a little bit of a partial tilted collar. So the collar wasn't completely engaged into its normal spot while the strike was happening. All right, so it was a little bit off kilter, a little bit tilted, which will produce this kind of stepped railroaded edge feature that you see here. This particular coin sold for $21.43 with 5 bids. Again, some of the more earlier dates, like the 98, 99, 2000s, you'll have a hard time getting half that amount of money for the same like condition of coin. And then here's another one here from the same seller, this time a 2006, with the same anomaly, off center by about 5%, and it does exhibit that kind of like stepped edge, that partial tilted collar that you see here. This one, however, is sold for $17.93 with 10 bids. All right, so the moment I saw this, I thought it was neat. We needed to add it to the list. But for those of you that are into silver stacking and collecting, okay, let this be kind of like a little bit of a PSA for you guys. Always look at your bars because people actually collect these with any sort of stamping error on them. Okay, so this is a early Foster's Eagle bar. It doesn't take rocket science to see what's going on here. It is a 1 ounce bar, 999 fine, but the stamping has been doubled. All right, pretty neat occurrence, and this is a bar that I haven't seen in quite some time. And they were expensive even like 10, 15 years ago. This one right here ended up selling. Keep in mind, it's a 1 ounce bar, sold for $225. The collector base for these type of errors is incredibly strong right now, and so are the prices. Now here's a 1976 Jefferson nickel. All right, so it's off center by about 50%. It does have some sort of weird staining or something to that effect on the reverse and the obverse of the coin, so it's not like a high tier specimen. If you're looking for this particular date, you know, off-center coins are generally collected by date. So if there's a specific date that collector needs, oftentimes, you know, you're going to get a little bit of a bidding war with someone else that also needs that date. You begin to kind of weed out exactly which dates are more tougher to find when you see just a lot of bidding activity. This particular example sold for $18, so I would say it's not one of the rarest. I've seen these things sell for close to $100 or more for the more scarcer dates. And this is the big reason why you look for star notes, is for nice little kind of honey holes like this. So this is a lot of 22 2017 A $2 bills. They are all stars, and they were all sold in this particular listing. But what's also pretty neat is that these stars have filled in centers. As you guys know, especially for those of you that look for these star notes, there's supposed to be a white dot right in the middle of each star, and that's the way that they're engraved. But this little kind of chance anomaly here is what's called a over ink. Just a simple over ink. And, you know, it's a lot more common on some of these newer notes with the star replacement suffix on there. So make sure you're looking out for these. What's really, really neat is that all of these notes have that filled in star. So it must have been a pretty common issue when these were printed here recently. So this lot, $44 face value, sold for $215, which tells me two things. Save your star notes, of course. And second of all, they're not incredibly rare, the filled in stars. So they are out there. It looks like it appears to be that they are found predominantly on these newer $2 bills. I've also seen them on some of the newer $1 bills as well. Now here's another lot. This time we have a set of 9 year 2000 Lincoln Memorial cents. They are all a little bit either off-center or broad struck. So it's a pretty neat little set, but I would say this is more, you know, just get it out of my hair, sell it all in one lot, and then however much I sell it for, that's what it is. But for a true business person on eBay that's looking to make a few bucks, they'll look for opportunities like this. They'll buy up the lot and then sell the coins individually. Some of the things that you want to be especially mindful of is the condition of the coins. Because if the condition of the coins isn't right where the market needs to be for them to be desirable, it wouldn't be worth buying the lot. All right. And oftentimes people sell lots when they have a lot of these rather circulated or damaged coins. So always be aware of that. This particular lot only managed to squeak by $35. And when you really look down to the nitty gritty, that's less than $2 a coin. Now, could you conceivably buy this lot and sell each one for $10 shipped? That's a really pretty good possibility. But also keep in mind, the year 2000, some of the most common you will find with these type of errors. The next one that we have here is a note that a lot of people have overlooked still. It's a 1985 $1 bill with a grossly misaligned third print. So you can see everything that the third print usually entails, the district seal, serial numbers, all shifted to the right. All right, and this is a rather common occurrence, on a lot of the dollar bills. So if you're out there strap searching, always look for things like these. I've also found misaligned third prints on much newer notes as well. This particular note ended up selling for a very respectable $54.99 with 19 bits. That's not too bad. All right, so as the coin continues to get older, the lore behind some of the most fantastic errors continues to live as legendary. This is the Tuskegee Airmen quarter, the last one in the line of ATB quarters, but take especially closer look. And now, yeah, the picture is just slightly out of focus with a lot of glare. The coin has obviously been circulated. It exhibits a lot of like grime and dirt on the obverse of the coin. You'll look on the reverse and find that, yeah, it's not a premier mint state example. This one has been through the paces. However, what's notable, as always, is going to be that phenomenal strike through that you will find right on the building. It looks like a burning, busted up building, which has kind of contributed to a lot of the popularity of this particular error. They call this a field restricted strike through. So that actually the movement of the feeder finger scraping along the top of the die is pushing around some of that grease on there. Again, this is a chance kind of like placement of this occurrence. So even a coin that has exhibited quite a bit of wear like this one has, still managed to squeak by $71.95 with 6 bids. So there were people interested. You're going to find that these coins will dry up in time. All right, so I'm not a particular advocate for the poor man's double die. It really is just die deterioration. As noted here, the front of this coin looks like hot flaming garbage. You can see just how mushy the strike is. It has a pretty considerable ridge ring, which is a component or byproduct rather of die deterioration. But you also have like the haloing effect on the 5s here, which kind of gives it that poor man's double die namesake. However, there are people that want high-end graded, ungraded rather, coins like this one here, where it's full red. The regular circulated ones sell for a few bucks, but people that really are interested in this, which by the way has been around for about 70 years, pretty close to the release of this coin, well, they want a nice red specimen. This one right here ended up selling for, can't even believe this, $22.50 with 25 bits. All right, so yeah, the guy that purchased it, are they a sucker? I don't know. At least they got the coin that they needed. You don't find too many mid-state red examples of the die deteriorated 55 out there. So I'm glad whoever bought this one got theirs. There's a little bit of a close-up. You can see just a haloing effect of the last 3 digits in the date. Now here's our next lot. We have a lot of 4 Lincoln Memorial cents, all exhibiting a little bit of a curved clip. Yeah, how cute. The 60 and 64D are kind of like mated up right there in the clip area. Pretty crazy, but we have an 82 large date. We have a 60 something. Don't know what it is. The 1960 and the 64D. People do collect these by date. Single clip coins aren't worth a whole lot of money, so in this particular instance, go ahead and sell it as a lot, I guess. This 4-coin lot sold for $22. So there's just a really good time to sell these as a lot. And then there's other times where you just need to sell them as singular coins, where they will realize a lot more potential value in the auction circuit. All right, so if you're not looking for one of these while you're roll hunting your half dollars, I don't know what to say. Humanity as we know it has come to an end, but this is the 1974D Kennedy half dollar with one of the strongest doubled dies that you will come across on any other date in the series, with exception of the 64D. That's a strong one. This one right here, as you can tell, has pretty phenomenal doubling in the motto, the date, and also the designer initials that you see there at the base of Kennedy's bust. Always a coin to look out for. Even examples in the lowest grades still manage to sell for $8 to $12. This example, which is in much nicer shape, sold for $37.99. It's also FS 101 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. We got some more currency here in this 1981A $1 bill. No, it's not miscut, although that's a pretty common misconception when someone looks at this and sees that the corresponding note kind of like coming into the main note there. But yeah, this is a grossly misaligned first print. Okay, that's the bottom underprint of the note that you see there. The third print has the serial numbers and district seals, so those are all perfectly centered on the sides of the, or on the center of the note. When you look at on the back, the rear back print is completely centered the way it should be. So this is just, it's not a miscut. It's just a misaligned first print. This one sold for $99.95. That's not too bad of a sale on this one. The note has considerable circulation wear. Now, I don't talk a lot about these type of coins, but this one's quite interesting. It's a 1990, or what's left of it, Lincoln Memorial cent. So, first and foremost, the coin was struck off-center. Secondly, the coin was double-struck. Full-on uniface, as you can see on there. Just a really, really crazy-looking coin, but that's kind of what you expect for a copper-coated zinc. These things don't hold up too well. You have a lot of stretching going on here, so there is a second coin that it overlapped with in the striking chamber. So the amount of striking pressure really flattened this one out and stretched it all the way out to where it kind of tears on either side of that secondary strike. So what do we have here as far as value? It's a very interesting coin, but did it sell for many hundreds of dollars? Not even close. Keep in mind the composition, and that's usually what holds the value back on some of these. Sold for $79.58 with 19 bids. So there you go. Very interesting kind of like conversation piece, if anything. So there were a few really nice off-center Washington quarters. We have a 1985 where you can see the top of the 5 there. This one's off-center by about 45-50%. All right, so it's a tougher date. You just don't see this one that often. Too bad we don't have a glimpse of the mint mark. Usually that's important. This one sold for $44.53 with 18 bids. And then likewise here, 1988P, another semi-tough date. This one's off-center by about 10%. Not as glamorous as the previous coin, but you do have a full date and mint mark, and that does matter to collectors of this error type. This one sold for $29.58 with 15 bids. And don't ignore stuff like this. You would be surprised how many people just toss these into a bag or into their penny pile and totally forget about them. It just seems like a just innocent looking 63D Lincoln. But if you look there on the obverse, it does have a nice lamination peel that's detached, but it's folded over, so you get to see the some of the devices struck through on that lamination peel. Yeah, so that's what we have here. You can just see the overall crappy quality of this particular planchet all the way through. It's got kind of like a semi-wood grain appearance on both sides, which is a precursor to things like laminations and other planchet flaws. This one right here sold for $22.50 with 3 bids. Not too bad. And of course, we've seen a number of notable errors and varieties for 2022 coins, but as of right now, we are 4 months in to the new year, 2022, and I have to say that the 2022 Lincoln Shield set with the Clash dice has been the biggest error slash variety to hit the open market since these things have released. Okay, I would say that it has beaten the Maya Angelou quarter die chips and all that great stuff. This is the one right here that has the most amount of appeal, and I would venture to say staying power out of any coin that we have seen released up to this point. So these close-ups reveal really nice, strong Clash dies. You can even see E Pluribus Unum clashed right here through the vest of good old Lincoln. Yeah, again, look out for these. Apparently, there's quite a few of them. People have been finding these in really decent quantity. This particular coin sold for $31.89 with 10 bids, and I've seen these jump as high as $50, $60. I think the overall cleanliness and the strength of the Clash dies really kind of determines on how high the ceiling is for the market of these coins. Be on the lookout for the examples with a full clashed reverse paired up with this strong clashed obverse. Those coins, I would imagine, would go to the moon. No doubt about it. And we haven't seen a really big one like that yet. We still have a whole year to go of more hunting, of more production from the U.S. Mint of this particular date of coin. Make sure you're looking out for these. Statehood quarter errors continue to forge on into quite nice secondary market values. We have a 2003P Alabama state quarter that is off center by about 10%. You know, yeah, the coin is not perfect. It's got a few scratches. It's circulated. It is what it is. However, when it sells for almost $60, $59.95 to be exact, with 12 bids, that should be a kind of sounding call as to the importance of these coins, because people are in it to collect various errors by date and by state. For this, it's really challenging. Now here's a really common variety that is mostly found in Franklin's. As a matter of fact, they are only found on Franklin half dollars, and that's the Bugs Bunny Clash, which on a few of the coins looks like vampire teeth. It really does. One of the most common dates to find this anomaly is 1955. All right, and we have one here, and the coin has been cleaned. I will tell you that. It exhibits no luster that I could see. The coin is probably a net AU of some sort. But the clashing is coming from the eagle feathers right here. And when you look up close, good old Franklin has wants to sink his teeth into the market, just like any other coin. You can see that pretty gnarly looking clashing right on Franklin's mouth. Again, it's the placement that really gets it. But there are a myriad of different Bugs Bunnies to be found through a lot of dates in the Franklin Half series, some incredibly scarce, and then some common, like this one. So the coin itself, without the Clash dies, is probably worth about $6 to $7 melt value, because it has been cleaned. This one right here ended up selling for $28.50. So I would sell this all day long, make more money, and then buy up some silver, right? Now here's a very scarce Roosevelt dime off-center strike, 1985p. Haven't talked about one of these, I don't think. I think we talked about 86 or 87 last time. But an 85p is quite tough, and for the people collecting into these by date, this is probably one of the keys of the 80s. This one sold for $47.49. This might be the last piece of currency on the list. It may or may not be, but we have a 1995 $1 bill with a gutter fold. So the sheet had a wrinkle at some point and then printed over. The back of the note, as you can see, has the actual gutter, I guess, ironed out at one point where it printed right on there, because you don't see a gutter on the reverse as well. So the note is not pretty. It's very well circulated, probably around a fine 12. This one sold for $33.65 with 2 bids. Here's another one to be on the lookout for while they're still available in mid-state condition. But this is the Field Restricted Strike Through 2021 Lincoln Shield Sense. So depending on placement, I know some of them looks like they've come out of Lincoln's mouth. This one has a pretty nice strike through right here above the date to the nape of this neck and bow tie area. I mean, pretty noticeable. You don't really need a magnifier to see this one. This one ended up selling for $33 with a total of 24 bids getting there. So again, lots of value here for just a good old penny. If you wanted shock value, you could say that it's 3,300 times face value. Now, ain't that insane? There's a little bit of a close-up, so that way you guys know what this looks like. Now, here's a neat one, 1991 P Roosevelt dime. This one was the die cap. This is the coin that was stuck to the die when all the other coins were being struck. So this is a much earlier state cap die. I've seen them a lot more deeper than this one. You can even see some of the detached reading that's starting to come off the edge of the coin. That's always neat. This one sold for a quite blistering $191.45 with 21 bids. The actual die caps always sell for a bunch of money. And then there's a little bit of a comparison next to a barber dime, 1913. Pretty neat. Yeah, quite a bit bigger. These things, really get big the more strikes they make. Now, always cherry pick these if you can. Indian head cents, these 3-cent nickels are always good as well. Also, the shield nickels are also another breeding ground for these big, huge cut die breaks. You can see this one here on the reverse at the, K9 to K10 area. Or K10, K12. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's a pretty sizable cut die break on this. And it sold for $99. A coin that probably you could have bought for like $20 in this condition. Selling it for 5 times face value is not too bad. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that want something like this in their collection. This is the last notable off-center struck Washington quarter. It's a 78. All right, it's not 1980s, so we got something a little bit different here. It's off-center by about 10%, nothing too crazy. Sold for $49.95 this time. Yeah, these were not good pictures, but I threw this one in here, a 1984 Lincoln Memorial cent with a little bit of a cut right here over the word trust. The coin in itself is not a fantastic grade. It's got a lot of carbon spots and fingerprints. This one still sold for $16.95. So, not too bad. I would say, if I had one of these, I'd probably sell it too. It doesn't appeal in the eye apartment, eye appeal department. Not apartment, department. All right, and the last 2 coins of today's PCMR. Boy, what a great looking presentation. Lots of thanks and kudos to the seller of this 1934 Buffalo Nickel, which is about 15% off center. Really nice example, very high grade in spite of the carbon spotting on there. But yeah, I like the way that everything's framed and then a little bit of text at the bottom to let you know what it is. These off-center struck obsolete coins, always popular. Good luck finding one for cheap. This one sold here for $413.88. And you better believe 23 bids collected to get to that price. Really nice. And then we're going to end it off on this Lincoln Memorial cent. Boy, another good one here. So we saw that die cap Roosevelt dime a few slides ago, but this is the byproduct of that particular cap die. This is a Lincoln Memorial. Believe it or not, it says 1980. There's enough of it there. So it's a late stage strike through a cap die, but also there is some a little bit of a brockage. So you can see just this overly stretched out Lincoln Memorial on there that's mirrored. Pretty neat coin here. And yeah, look at the condition, folks. You think this was pulled out of a Gem BU roll? Heck no. This thing made its way through society. It bought groceries, it went to a change jar, it bought a cup of coffee or a hot meal. And that's okay. It just shows that a lot of people don't really know or care about these. But this is a gem in a rough, just waiting to be found. And this particular case, it's a coin that sold for $121.98. Boy, what a great find right here. But that's going to go ahead and do it for this one, guys. Your Saturday edition of the PCMR has finally come to a close. Would love to hear your thoughts. Did you have a favorite on the list today? I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's content, and commentary. Yeah, it's been one of those days. You know, it is what it is. But anyways, that was a lot of fun. You guys take care, and happy hunting. Good luck, guys. I'll see you later.